Today we are talking about food as medicine. And food is either your medicine or your poison. There is nothing in between. And I know this sounds extreme, but it really isn't. Let's talk about this. We eat pounds of food daily. We put all this stuff into our body every day, right? If all food were the same, it wouldn't matter what you eat, right? But that's not the case. It really matters. You know intuitively that having cotton candy is not the same as having broccoli. But why? What makes it so different? Answer is that food carries information, molecules, instructions, codes that affect your biology at every level. Some foods make things worse, increase inflammation, turns on diseases, and other foods can do the opposite and they can heal you. So using food as medicine means choosing foods with instructions and codes that help you heal and avoiding the foods that give instructions to hurt. Most doctors, NPs, and PAs are not trained on the power of foods, but I see it daily. When we use food as medicine, in my practice, people's skin clear up, their joint pain goes away, their migraines evaporate, their memory improves, all with a change in food. So today, we're going to talk about food as medicine, but we're going to get really, really technical. So you have to get ready for the ride, okay? But always, I want to let you know how to reach me and my team. We're on the New Method, new spelled with a K, everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. The website is thenewmethod.com. We are everywhere, and we will answer your messages. And if you want to become a game changer, that's what we call our clients, they'll tell you how. And by the way, we just launched a brand new video series. And this is great for those of you who may not be ready or able to work with me one-on-one, but really want access to the information. So I created lectures, and you can learn at your own pace. It's on the website. Check it out. All right, back to here. Food is medicine. Let's do some definitions. You know I always start with definitions. Medicines are chemicals, compounds used to cure or prevent disease or ease symptoms or help in the diagnosis of illness. And poison is a chemical or compound that is harmful to the body. The food is made up of chemicals and compounds, and your body uses it for various things. But at the heart of food is understanding that food is just a bunch of chemicals. And the chemical choices in your food can either be medicine or poison. So when we refer to food as medicine, we mean that certain foods contain chemical compounds that have a positive effect on your body. And it's basically chemistry. Now, I know some of you hated chemistry in high school, but we're going to go through it again today. So I need you to buckle up and get through it. You know I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible, but sometimes we just have to go for the technical ride. Every morsel of food we consume is a complex combination of chemicals, interacts with our body, right? So let's start breaking down to groups. The first one, you may have heard of this term, it's called a macronutrient. Macronutrient sounds fancy, but basically you're already familiar with it. It just means your carbs, your proteins, your fats, right? Each of this is composed of atoms and molecules that fuel your body. So your carbs are basically chains of sugar molecules. Your proteins are basically chains of amino acids linked together. Your fats are made of fatty acids. So these are like one type of group of breaking down. Then you have your micronutrients. That's like your vitamins and your minerals. And when we go down to the micronutrients, those have a different effect on our body, right? For example, vitamin C, known as ascorbic acid, crucial for collagen in our skin, crucial for immune function, right? So we're breaking down to chemicals, and it has an effect on our immune system. Minerals like calcium, magnesium have to do with our muscles and our energy production. And we have another group called the antioxidants and phytochemicals. These are compounds that help protect us from oxidative stress and inflammation. Polyphenols basically is the fancy word that makes our fruits and vegetables colorful. They are known for their antioxidant properties. One very well-known one is quercetin, and it's found in apples and onions and capers. And it's a chemical broken down into your body, actually helps you with allergies and asthma. So the chemicals can really help here. So you eat the foods and they get broken down into their parts. What does that mean, right? So if you heard of a term called enzymes, enzymes are proteins. Enzymes are proteins. They break down carbohydrates into simple sugars. They break down proteins into amino acids. They break down fats into fatty acids. It takes our food and breaks it down into chemical parts. So when you eat your food, you have to say, what chemicals am I eating? When I look at my plate, what is happening when it's being broken down to its chemical part? Is it being broken down to good healing chemicals or poisonous chemicals? Because some of these chemicals, the good ones, they're going to affect our hormones. They're going to affect our hunger. If we're full, they're going to affect our metabolism. For example, you eat sugar or carbs, that releases an hormone called insulin, right? But if you eat certain junk foods, that will break down to chemicals that can mess with your hunger hormones that can actually keep you hungrier and keep you wanting more. By the way, it's designed that way. These foods are designed to break into chemicals that will mess with your leptin and your ghrelin, which are your hormones to keep you hungry and full, to keep you wanting more. Because the food companies know that if they break it down to certain chemicals, what it could do to make sure that you keep wanting more. So the foods, the chemicals can really affect everything, our cells, our genes, our DNA synthesis, everything. The chemistry of our diet can also affect whether or not we're going to develop chronic disease. If your food is full of antioxidants, right, think of all your plants and your fruits, it lowers the risk of conditions like cancer and heart disease. On the other hand, if you have a diet that's full of trans fat and excessive sodium, it can lead to cardiovascular issues and hypertension. So I think you're getting the idea that by looking at your food as chemicals, you can start understanding why we're talking about food as poison or food as medicine. Let's give some more examples. Leafy green vegetables. Everyone says, eat your greens, but why? Leafy green vegetables like kale and spinach, they're nutritional powerhouses. That deep green color is a chemical. It's rich in vitamins and vitamin K, which helps with blood clotting, minerals like iron, which helps with anemia and helps with ATP production. These greens, this green color also contains chemicals called glucosinolates, which plays a role in cancer prevention. And there's parts of that chemical that also supports eye health. Blueberries, for example, have anthocyanins, which are known for their antioxidant powers. Or lycopene in tomatoes is known to be related to reduced risk of certain cancers. Not just the tomato is healthy, it's a tomato that gets broken down to lycopene, which is connected to reducing cancers, right? Start thinking of it being broken down into its chemical. Even when we look at grains, where it was like, oh, eat the carbs, don't eat the carbs. But even with grains, the grains themselves, a good quality grain will have B vitamins and iron, but it also has fiber. And believe it or not, you cannot detox. You cannot detoxify your body without the fiber found in grains. So breaking it down like that is also helpful. When we talk about meat and protein, seafood, right? Poultry, all of that breaks down into amino acids. And amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So you can't make muscle without making sure you have those amino acids. If you're eating fish, it breaks down to omega-3. And we know omega-3 is a fatty acid that's anti-inflammatory. On the other hand, your food can be poison. That means that some foods break down into chemicals that harm us. So trans fat is found in the deep fried foods, the French fries, the onion rings, non-dairy creamers. What trans fat does is it raises our LDL. Excessive sodium. We need sodium to stay alive. We can't live without sodium. It manages our, body's fluid balance, our nerve function. But too much sodium that's found in any time you eat in a restaurant can lead to high blood pressure, kidney issues. Sugar. Of course, we need sugar to stay alive. But if we have too much of it, like kind that's found in high fructose corn syrup, which is a sweetener that's in your sodas and in your beverages, it's too much glucose and too much fructose out of proportion, so you can't handle it chemically. Chemically, it's just too much overload for your liver, which is why it can lead to increased triglycerides. It can lead to fatty liver. I just did a whole other episode on fatty liver, so take a look at that. The point is that while you do need sugar to stay alive, sugar in its chemical form, when given in too much of an intense dose, can have chemical outcome that the liver just can't process it. Now, of course, that's kind of talking about the things that we need some of, right? We need a little sodium, we need a little sugar. But what about the artificial stuff that we don't even need, the artificial colors and flavors that are added to enhance the appearance and the taste of food? And they are generally recognized as safe, right? By the FDA, don't get me started, generally recognized as safe. But even though they're generally recognized as safe, they serve no good purpose. There's nothing good about these chemicals. It's not like, hey, I do need a little sodium, I just don't need a lot of sodium. You don't need these chemicals ever. So these chemicals enter the system, and now your body has to waste energy processing them. Any chemical that comes in has to be processed. They don't serve any beneficial role. So now your body has to spend time and energy clearing them, detoxing them. Think of things like red dye number 40, yellow dye number 5, right? Not only are they associated with allergic reactions and behavioral issues, but they actually lead to an impact on your body because it has to get busy getting rid of it. There's no upside to these. Same is true for preservatives. Any food that is on the shelf for a really long time has preservatives in it. Your cereals, your snack bars, your instant noodles, the processed meat, they're full of chemicals like BHA and BHT. And the reason that they stay on the shelf forever is because it stops like the oxidation process. It stops the process so it could stay on the shelf forever. But these chemicals now go in your system, but your body has to deal with these chemicals. And these chemicals have been linked to cancer, especially in high doses. And it also just it's taxing on your body because now your body has to detox, right? So even though the FDA said generally recognized as safe, there's nothing beneficial about these chemicals and your body has to spend time getting rid of them. So I think we're getting the picture here. Everything you eat gets broken down to chemicals and you have to decide if you're going to give yourself good chemicals or bad chemicals. So let's just take two classic examples, Doritos versus green tea. Let's look at it chemically, right? Now, I'm not talking about calories. I'm just talking about chemicals. What's happening when it breaks down to chemicals? So in Doritos, of course, we have carbs. Of course, we have sugar and trans fat. We all know that causes inflammation and has excessive sodium. We got it. Let's look at the chemicals that are in these Doritos. MSG, known for its flavor-enhancing properties. So when you eat it, it wakes up your tongue. It stimulates receptors on your tongue telling you, yes, take more Doritos. This is why nobody ever eats one Dorito. You always eat the whole bag because it's designed to make you want to eat more. So it leads to this excessive desire for more and more and more. So if that's not enough, it's not enough that it makes you eat more overeating. But MSG, the G part, is glutamate. And glutamate is a neurotransmitter. It goes to the brain. So it can affect neurological processes. This is why some people experience headaches, palpitations when they eat anything with MSG. BHA and BHT. We discussed these chemicals moments ago as preservatives in processed foods. And again, they're to help keep things on the shelf forever, but they actually prevent oxidation. In the body, they have pro-oxidant effects. You don't want oxidation. Oxidation is rusting, right? They disrupt the body's natural antioxidant defense system, which leads to cellular damage and inflammation. And as I said earlier, your liver has to waste time getting rid of it. Doritos also has yellow dye number 6, number 5, red 40. That's that powder that gets stuck on your fingers, that weird color. Those are just chemicals, and there's nothing beneficial about them. It's just one more chemical for your body to try to get rid of. Now let's talk about green tea. Simple green tea. It's just a bag of leaves in water. How good could it be? Green tea is so full of bioactive compounds that are great for your biology, including ECGC, caffeine, and L-theanine. So ECGC is one of the most studied and potent antioxidants. It neutralizes free radicals, protects cells from damage. It helps weight management, metabolism. It helps the heart, affects cholesterol. It affects the cognitive function. L-theanine in green tea has neuroprotective effect, helping with cognitive function. And it's just simple green tea, leaves and water, broken down into powerful chemicals. Look at the difference here. So where do we start? Of course, we always start with removing the really bad stuff. Like remove the standard American diet. You should not be on a standard American diet anymore. It's high in carbs, it's high in sodium, it's high in processed meats, it's high in refined oils. Like no good. High fructose corn syrup, you got to get rid of it. Remember, someone out there is going to say, oh, but it's fructose. Yeah, I get it. But it's high fructose corn syrup. You're not supposed to have that much in one sitting. Your body can't handle it. Too many chemicals at one shot. Trans fats, chemicals, processed foods full of chemicals. We don't eat them. I don't care that they're generally recognized as safe. You don't eat them. Anything that is trying to keep fresh on the shelf is not good for you. And then, of course, it's not just enough to remove the bad stuff. If food is medicine, we have to put the good stuff in. The prebiotics, the probiotics, the fermented foods. I'm not just talking about supplements, taking pills. Fermented foods, they're great for your gut. So we're talking about kombucha and kimchi and pickles. Those are amazing fermented foods for probiotics. And then you have your prebiotics that can help your digestive system better. Your apples, your artichokes, your berries. Not only are there prebiotics, but anything with a color like that is full of chemicals that are going to help you with other things. There's foods for immunity and inflammation, right? So if you have depression, cancer, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, you need to think about anti-inflammatory foods. So not only are you going to remove the foods that are inflammatory, but you're going to add things with omega-3 like fish. You're going to eat the rainbow because now you understand that those chemicals that make the color, the phytochemicals, they're anti-inflammatory. Spices are anti-inflammatory powerhouses, like all the spices you put in, all those colors. Think of them as medicine, right? It's not an accident. Turmeric and curcumin are used as anti-inflammatory. That's food as medicine. Food and energy. The key to longevity and health is optimizing your mitochondria. Your mitochondria loves food that helps with energy: blueberries, pomegranate seed, extra virgin olive oil, avocados, almonds, MCT oil. If you're trying to detox, you need foods that help you detox, because again, food can do that, because getting rid of toxins is important. We do that with cruciferous vegetables, the broccoli, the kale, the cabbage, the Brussels sprouts. They're actually help the detoxification system. On a chemical level, when they're broken down, you cannot detox without them. They're amazing. These vegetables also help you produce glutathione, which is the body's master antioxidant. All of that needed for detoxification. Curcumin, green tea, all of it here. Then there's the food communication connection, right? The blood vessels. We have blood vessels everywhere, and we have to protect them because that's how things travel. The studies show that even one single fast food meal harms blood vessels. That's the poison, but it can be offset by eating the medicine, the phytonutrients, the antioxidants found in the colorful, nutrient-dense plant food. I didn't even go into food as hormones, food and mental health, food and skin, but you're understanding that your choice makes a difference, everything that you eat. I'm going to attach a list to this, a PDF on my blog, maybe an attachment on the YouTube channel, so you could see at a glance the categories of food, because it's really nice to have. But I want you to understand that when we say food is medicine or poison, we really mean it. It's not a hyperbole. It's not a metaphor. Food is just a bunch of chemicals. Some chemicals are healing and some are destructive. And your goal is to choose the chemicals that heal and avoid the ones that don't heal. And if you want to work with me and my team, find us on any platform at The New Method. And remember, you always knew there was a better way. I'll see you guys next week.